I like the fact that you do seller going away parties or
Yep,
what's your
seller goodbye parties.
goodbye
And
parties?
that's the fun part of the business. You know, when you do an open house and you make it fun and you've got 50 to 80 people through, serve refreshments, you make it like a social event so that, you know, it's not the drudgery of, you know, when is this going to
Walking
be over?
through.
I want to get out of here. You know, if you try to do the things you've done forever and say, okay, I don't like doing this, how am I going to make it something that's, you know, more enjoyable? So if you're living in a neighborhood or have worked in the neighborhood and farmed one for a long time, a lot of people welcome the buyer to a home, but, you know, buyers often are setting up and busy and
I agree. I think it's one of the best ideas I've ever heard, and I can't believe I've never heard of it before.
well, it's fantastic. I mean, the people love to do it to say goodbye to their neighbors. You know, you're taking when they're busy moving, you're supplying the food and the forum, and you only need to be there for an hour or two and then let them have at it. But you know, it's obviously self-serving. You meet all of the sellers. That's really who you want to meet. That
Well,
are
you
in
meet
that.
all their friends.
Yeah. Well, and they see what you've done. You know,
And it's also at the point where you've had the success of having it under agreement, and you're how many days away from the closing do you have the party?
well, it depends. If a house is vacant and it's been staged, you know, we've had people come back to the house and invite the neighbors through, and they just, you know, will just have a table and so forth. I would say typically it's probably a few weeks from settlement before they start packing up. So they're under contract, have been through all the contingencies, and the financing is either approved or destined to be approved. And so, of course, you invite the new buyer to the party as well, because they want to meet the neighbors that are around them. And interestingly
I
enough,
I don't know how I feel about that.
Is there alcohol
You really
being
want
served?
the buyers and sellers together before the closing?
because you have to remember, most of the people are walking.
Aren't we paid to keep them apart?
Well,
I mean, in certain situations, maybe, but then
Along
some
with
crazy
every
stuff that can
agent.
happen.
you know, unless they're a nightmare. And I say to the agent, you're welcome to come. It would be a nice way for them to meet people, and most agents aren't too threatened by that. So it's all how you do it. If you're there soliciting
Okay, so you invite the co-broke also.
or being, but they realize this is your listing with the sellers around you. So they may see it as an opportunity to glad hand, to look like a good person with the people that are already there. But, you know, it's never that much drama.
Sure.
We have a wine tasting if people are,
Well, it's great PR.
and
I would say the social lubricant would be very important.
oh, I mean, it helps,
keep
and I
it all
think because,
moving
again, people are walking
in the right
there.
direction.
They're not as, some stay, some cycle in and out, but it's just and then I leave the owners with the wine and just say, look, have fun, and then that even prevents you from having to do final cleanup.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
It cleans up.
Yeah. So what does this cost? What do you provide? What, do you?
Got an incredible wine cellar, and we buy good deals on wine all the time. So, I mean, I can buy Prosecco for $12 a bottle that tastes like a $40 bottle of champagne. If you know what you're doing, you can get some decent wines of different varieties and then have people taste them. You're telling them what they are. I'm able to send them to the liquor store we go to, which is appreciated, which is why we get good deals on that. But people also are interested in wine.
So you call it a wine tasting?
Yes, I'll say that, you know, there's a wine tasting that will be there and come raise a glass to the sellers, whether people drink or not. I mean, we obviously have sparkling water and some sodas and things for children.
Cheese and crackers?
Yeah, we'll have platters made of either vegetables, you know, so people are having something to eat. It's always good to do it, you know, around the 4 o'clock mark, you know, close enough to cocktail hour, but before dinner, so people head on. If people choose to stay, they can, because you're out of there. No,
You're doing it on the weekend, probably.
no, all of that works well, but you also need to write a very, very lovely invitation to the neighbors saying, you know, we're wishing the McCluskeys well. Please come and, you know, meet the new buyers and your new neighbors as the McCluskeys now, you know, go to their next phase of life, you know, in Ohio or wherever it is they're moving. And we'd be delighted to see you there. So, you
It's
know,
nice. You're expediting the transition and kind of taking charge of both the seller and the buyer, that's smart.
But at 4 o'clock, you're not doing this Monday through Friday.
No, we typically do it on a Saturday
Okay.
or a Sunday.
Yep.
Because it's a weekend when people are home and they can, and they almost feel obligated to stop by and say hello.
And this is mainly the neighbors or the seller's friends or,
To buyer.
say again?
We invite the neighbors and the new buyer.
Neighbors and the new buyer. Okay. And you mail invitations?
I'll, anywhere from 50 to 100 invitations.
Wow.
Now, you might only get 20 people that show up, but that's fine.
No, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's been done.
And then what about your annual past client appreciation?
It's funny. We do something different every year, and we try to see, we shake it up. We had a Hawaiian luau with a pig roast and Hawaiian dancers. That was more family-oriented at a Bethesda mansion where there was outside. It was a beautiful day. Had about 120 people. That's usually what we get, about 120 people out of the 700 we invite. And then this year, I wanted to do something a bit more upscale. So there's a restaurant in the D.C. area that has opera night, where there are two people that float through the tables and, sing arias from operas. And they're both wonderful. We've been there, and it's so much fun. They're very engaging. And, dinner is about $45 a person, and then wine would be on top of that. So, we're probably going to spend $100 a person. So, again, if you get 100 people there, it's very, very cost effective, and we typically have our title attorney split that cost with us. So for a few $1,000s, we have a lovely event. Some appeal to adults. The people that do the same party every year, that's fine. But I feel that if you appeal to different people, you bring out a different set of clients. So some years it's for the parents and the kids. Other years it's a more upscale event. Year before last, we did a Halloween thing at a country club where it was costume, and then it was a murder mystery with actors that engaged the audience, and they had a dinner and open bar. On a Vegas night, we did a lobster and champagne back when, 2005, when everyone had more cash than God. I probably had 200 people at that. But, I've got people that come that I sold a property to 30 years ago. So it's a great way to engage. You put a name to a face, and it's just whether they come or not, it's something that you're doing that not only is fun, but,
It's memorable, too.
I'm sorry?
It's memorable for your clients and
Memorable. And I don't think that a lot of people do it, or maybe do it on the level that we do. So we did a baseball game one year and had about 200 people there, too, to see
that's
the
a fun
Nationals,
idea.
where they had lunch beforehand and then went in the stands and looked. And, it's a great day. It's a tiring day because you're glad-handing with a lot of different people, but it's great to see all the clients and, look at your years of effort and reward of helping all these people through different cycles of their lives. So, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Okay, well, we're going to